Out of Shasta College, Humanities 2, the fall semester. How y'all doing? It's getting hot again, 105 today, and it's going to cool off in a couple of days, which is sweet. Hope you're all doing well. Had your weekend. I know it's been quiet. You had a paper due on Friday. I'm signing a paper today, essay 3, I believe it is, and it's going to be on the Dutch painters. It'll be due a week from today, so you'll have plenty of time to do it. I posted 2 documentaries already in modules, one on Rembrandt and one on Vermeer. You probably might not have ever heard of Vermeer, but he only painted 35 paintings in his entire lifetime. But it was a new era of realistic painting with lighting. Maybe you've seen some of his paintings and you don't know that you've seen them because they're in the popular culture. They even made a movie about it years ago with Scarlett Johansson. Um, so, and Rembrandt is one of the most famous painters in the world. You probably heard the name, perhaps. I hope. If you ever get to Amsterdam in Holland, um, you got to go to the Rijksmuseum, and all of Rembrandt's work is there. And when you see it up close, it's devastatingly, almost undescribable how he did that in the 1600s, 1700s, with the primitive supplies that they had in those days. His One of his most famous paintings, The Night Watch. Um, I got to see up close. It took up a whole entire wall, and it's incredibly cinematic. If that makes sense to you, um, this is long before cameras. This is long before movies, and so paintings was a way of depicting a story. And so you look at this story of Night Watch. That's an example. He did hundreds of paintings. That's just one of his more famous ones. And there's a whole story there. Look, there's all the people. What are their expressions on their face? What are their hands doing? Their It's incredibly detailed, and his forte was realistic depiction of the human face and hands, which is not easy. It's probably a lost art now because you don't see that kind of realism anymore in most art, a lot of art. Um, and it tells a story. It's a whole movie. Night Watch. I'm going to post a little documentary on the Night Watch alone. Check it out. Um, on the same block, about 2 miles the other way, is another museum which had some Vermeers. Now, they both lived in the Netherlands. I was actually, when I was in Amsterdam, I went to Rembrandt's house where he lived for many years and painted upstairs, tiny little places. I didn't go upstairs because it was $25 to go up the stairs, so I just hung out in the lobby and looked at the gift shop. Um, and there's another great museum there in Holland with another fantastic artist, and I'll be talking about him later when we get into more modern times. Vincent van Gogh. I'm sure you've heard of him, perhaps. He lived there too. Now, why is all these artists living in this area at the same time? Well, for one, nearby in Rotterdam was a seaport town, so ships are coming in from all over the world with imports and leaving with exports, and the people would come and they're exchanging ideas about the world out there in the world. There's no internet, there's no telephones. To get from Amsterdam to China is 3 months in the ocean, sailing to U.S. even. It's monumental, and so information was scarce. And when it came in, it was a revelation, and that's what the whole Renaissance is all about. Because at this time, with the invention of the printing press and other machinery that are making reading and printmaking so accessible to normal, regular people. And I don't mean normal. I mean people who had to work for a living. Before, that was usually only available to the wealthy and the privileged, the aristocracy. But now anybody could get a book. Most people could see a painting in a gallery, and maybe they can even afford the painting to buy because money was coming into these port cities, and Amsterdam's very near Rotterdam, and and so that's why it's so important. This Renaissance was really so important to this area, and it radiated out into the world. Um, Later on, um, Rembrandt was very, very wealthy at one time and famous, but he was usually a hired hand. Most artists were hired by people to paint things or them portraits, and he did that. And he made a good living off it, but he was bored. He wanted to express himself and really bust free with his art. So he decided to stop taking uh, people's money for his art, and he started creating art on his own, and it kind of failed. Um, he went bankrupt. He lost all his money. He became a severe alcoholic and essentially died in poverty. And he burned a bunch of his canvases under rage. It's in that documentary. Check it out. Um, and he wandered the town kind of a lost soul until he died. Real tragic. Except for her name lives on right now. And that's why he matters now. Not just then, he matters now. Because the dedication to a creative endeavor that you would give your life to is something we don't see too much anymore. Um, Vermeer's a mystery. We don't know too much about him. He only painted 35 paintings in his entire lifetime. That's not a lot. Sometimes he'd take a year to paint a painting. And he used a device called a camera obscura, and it was a device in a wooden box with a candle and a small hole, and you could project images, believe it or not, on a canvas. That's why his stuff is so meticulously real looking. And he would trace the outlines, and usually depicting one person, lonely person, usually a woman, at the windowsill, making a meal or washing dishes, looking out longingly into the distance. There's a lonely spot. His great paintings, the girl with the pearl earring, is probably one of his most famous, and the whole story's there. And look at the background, look at the detail on the walls behind her. Uh, Everything is so minutely detailed. That's coming from a paintbrush, folks, not a digital computer, a paintbrush. Um, he didn't really was famous in his lifetime, and we don't know a lot about Vermeer. So I want to ask you guys on your essay, and I'm going to post it tonight. It'll be due next Monday or maybe Tuesday. Um, you could write about either Rembrandt or Vermeer. Um, you choose. Um, I don't want a copy and paste job from Wikipedia. I want you to look at those documentaries, do some research, go deeper. If you want to focus your paper on one painting, like the girl with pearl earring, that's fine. 3 pages on her. There's been thousands of pages written about that painting. Go do a deep dive into that. Do a deep dive into a Rembrandt, the Night Watch. Your whole paper could just be about the Night Watch. That's fine. Make sure you've got citations, 2 or 3, and make sure you have a citation page called Works Cited page. Make sure your papers are in the MLA style. Thanks. That's your assignment for this week. I'll be posting more videos of each of those guys and of the whole Amsterdam phenomenon that was radiating out into the world. That's how important it was. So, that's the essay. I haven't done it yet, I'm sorry. I'm going to post a sample of the journal. Keep up in your journal every week. Write in your journal like a diary. Save it in a file, and on the last week of school, which is, I don't know when, December, you'll open it up and you upload it. And it should have an entry for every week we have class. In the entry, you simply put what we did, what you saw, my lectures, what you read in the textbook, um, what you researched, the movies you saw, and here's the reflection part, what you got out of it. How'd you feel about it? Just a sentence or two. So it's just a paragraph, and then go on to the next week. If you miss a week, just say, I missed the week. That's okay. If you miss 2 or 3 weeks, you will lose points. It's worth 10 points. Don't miss, try not to miss any weeks. These classes are over pretty quick. Anyway, if you do, just say, I missed the week. You don't have to have an excuse. You don't have to say you're at a wedding or you're in the hospital. You don't have to do that. I believe you. We all have lives. We all have things that get in the way of school, jobs, family, obligations. I understand. Just say, I missed the week. Move on. What else? That's about it for tonight. It's hope you guys had a good weekend. It's going to be an exciting week ahead studying these Dutch painters. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you love it, and hope you find some meaning in it. Because these artists represented the best of us, and they still do. See you down the road.